Back on TYT Sports with a groundbreaking headline of a clip that is going to piss off every single person in the audience. Andre is here. I like having Andre on these clips specifically, or when he does the solo clips and then naming the clip, and then Andre gets all the backlash. Like why MJ isn't the greatest of all time, and still to this day, they don't watch the argument. They just go, "This is insanity." I'm like, I go, yeah, Andre might be insane. I don't know, man. I didn't.
Oh, you don't even have my back.
No, I always go in, when it's on Twitter all the time too, I go like, look man, Andre is one of the smartest dudes I know on this planet. And I say that because I'm like, I do sports for a living. Andre like is helping technology advancement in the brain and then happens to talk about basketball on the side. So
you know, everybody needs a hobby.
I try. So my new hobby is going to be working on technological research in the brain. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I was great at school, I swear. All right, but so here's the actual headline. What if LeBron leaves Cleveland in 2018? And is this the most outrageous thing we've done? No, it's not, because of course there's media rumors. And yes, LeBron is I think he's technically a free agent if he wanted to be this year, if he were to opt out. But LeBron's the king of the contract. He knows that he's in control more so than any player I've ever seen in the NBA and its history when it comes to really leveraging the money in his favor. Why? Wherever LeBron goes in the entirety of the NBA immediately becomes a title contender, which is tough to say for almost any other player. If LeBron leaves Cleveland, maybe as a result, and this is going up over the weekend, of them losing the NBA Finals, or who knows, maybe we're in the midst of a 3-2 series. You can make fun of me in the comments afterwards, Andre, where the Lakers, reunion with the Heat maybe, and Dwayne Wade, or the Bulls, the CP3, Melo, LeBron thing, are any of these really to be considered?
Here's the thing.
No.
I don't, you know, LeBron, to me, there's no particular reason for him to ever leave Cleveland unless he just feels like the team isn't good enough, right? Because I remember way back in the day, he made the comment that he didn't just want to be a star, he wanted to be a global icon. And there was thought that, well, maybe he might, you know, Cleveland's small market, he might have to leave and go to a bigger market to do that. But at this point, he is the market. You know, like there's no need. It's not like if he plays in LA, all of a sudden people will be like, oh, have you heard of this LeBron guy? He's pretty good. You know, I mean, he is who he is at this point. So that's kind of my first thought. My second thought is if he does leave, I would have to imagine at this point in his career, you know, because he's actually finally gotten to his 30s.
Right.
That he's not going to want to go somewhere and have to carry the load. Because, I mean, quiet as kept, you know, he went to the Heat and he caught all the backlash that Kevin Durant is catching now for going to a stacked team.
Right.
But it's not like when he came to Cleveland, he came back to nothing. I mean, he came back to back-to-back #1 overall picks, and they traded one of them for Kevin Love. And so there's talent there, you know, so wherever he goes, if he ever goes somewhere, it's going to be a team that has a really good chance to win. I don't think he would go to Golden State at this point. I think that would be absurd, but you know, I could almost imagine him trolling everybody and just like, forget it, you know.
Just
I want to go and
win $2 million a year.
That's what it is.
Gonna go play with the Warriors. He'd be 33 going on 34 if I'm correct, because he'll be 33 next year, or maybe even this year, and he'll be going on 34 in 2018, which in LeBron years means he's 22. He's only been in the league he makes it look like he's only played 100 minutes in the league his whole career. And of course, there's always the question like, when is LeBron ever gonna slow down? Well, he has to show signs of slowing down for us to ever really actually say he finally let it go. And I want to also mention, Kobe played a lot of minutes, and until those injuries started happening, he didn't slow down until about 37. Those injuries started popping up 36. So there's no reason to not think realistically that he's still got about 4 more years of being LeBron James, as they make it from the movie Trainwreck, because you're LeBron James. That's why you're paying for dinner. In the case of the Lakers, because they'll probably possibly get Paul George, and they might have, you know, Lonzo Ball and all this young talent, and building up to that point might be good enough. In the case of a reunion with Dwayne Wade, That's a tougher one to sell. Dwayne Wade is not the Dwayne Wade he was. He did slow down. So has Melo, which is what makes LeBron James so remarkable. So having that banana boat Big Four team that they seem to want to get together would really make only sense if they're all willing to take massive pay cuts, and also none of them really be the number 1 or 2 guys. Like, it would just be like a fun experiment. And I think it would be kind of cool to see if they had enough gas in the tank. But then I kind of look at what happened with KG and Pierce, Darren Williams, and who was the other one that was on the Brooklyn Nets team?
Joe Johnson.
And Joe Johnson, like, they made what? They got to the second round of the playoffs? I think that's the more likely outcome than them ever winning a championship. So if LeBron left Cleveland, I think it would take over as the biggest sports story of the year. And if he went to the Golden State Warriors, I think the NBA could lose a massive chunk of audience.
And Twitter would explode. It would just spontaneously combust.
I know, so many great tweets we could make. The Timberwolves, the Bucks, the young rising teams.
Yeah, but he's not going there. You know, like
I don't think
he's in his small market home. Like if he's going to go somewhere, and he's got young guys around him because Kevin Love's not that old, and Kyrie's still really young.
Kyrie's 25. Yeah, he can still play for a long time.
Yeah, so if he wants young players, young talent in the small market, he'll stay at home. I could maybe see him going to a Lakers or Celtics team just for the sake of they have the history, and he might want to go and be a part of that history. I could maybe see him going to the Bulls because it's always about Jordan with him.
Yeah, that would be big.
You know, if he can go and bring the team back to the promised land, I could imagine that being the motivation. Outside of that, maybe the funniest one, I mentioned Golden State, but somebody tweeted me the perfect revenge would be next year for Russell Westbrook to join the Cavs. You know, maybe he goes and joins Russell Westbrook and you know, says, you know what? We're only doing this, screw you, Kevin Durant. You know, maybe if Golden State beats them back-to-back years, I mean, I could see something like that just I'm pissed off and I could do it. But
I'd be cool with that. That would be fun.
Outside of that, I can't imagine, no matter how much young talent's on the team, I can't imagine him going to play with, you know, the Magic or insert team here just because why would he? He doesn't have to. He's LeBron. He's got his own weight. He's not going to go leave his home to go to another small market team unless it's, you know, something absurd.
I guess the incentive of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. As the number 1 guy on a team, has anybody won 3 championships with 3 different teams? Like I'm trying to go back to like the year, like all the legends. Now 2 teams is rare in itself, but LeBron's done that with the Heat and look, there are players like what Robert Horry's been on. I mean, it's 11 championship teams. But as the number 1 guy, or even the number 2 guy, like a Dwayne Wade winning with the Heat, but in 2 different teams in itself.
And the Heat, right?
And the Heat, but very different rosters altogether. But again, I think it would be maybe if LeBron's really thinking of legacy as much as the media wants to believe he's thinking of legacy. Maybe he does think like, hey, let's go win one with the Bulls if he's chasing Jordan to be like, I want to have my own banner in that stadium. And I wouldn't count him out of doing it. I think this offseason is going to be as groundbreaking as it was when LeBron left to go to the Cavaliers, because as we've seen, Chris Paul could be on his way somewhere. And if it is the Spurs, we're going to see some more balance, I would say, in the Western Conference. And who knows, Steph, what happens with this Big Four? They can stay together, and if they do, we're looking at a team that should be the favorite to win for the next 2 or 3 years. So who knows? All of them should go to the Minnesota Timberwolves, play defensive basketball.
Play with the Big Cat.
Big Cat's gonna average 30 and 30 this year. You wait.
It'll all be because of those strange beef jerky commercials.
I love how you tweet those out, and you're like, I wasn't sure what your take was. They're great.
They're hilarious. It's just like, you know, every time I see one, I'm like, am I high? I might be high. I'm not sure.
I usually am. So like when I'm watching the game, that's what Liz actually said to me once. We were on we're talking NFL betting, and he was making the joke that he goes, you must be high when you're making these statements because they're so insane. I go, I can't be high on camera, man. I'd be asleep within 5 minutes. And he goes, no, it's the joke because of the statements you make. And I was like, just way over my head. All right, Andre. Thank you, man. As always, make sure to comment below at Professor DRZ on Twitter, and we'll see you next time.